So, kind of speaking on that, how do you maintain motivation when you feel like you're slipping a little bit? Because you're easily known as the more outward motivational person between the two of us. You post every morning on Facebook, the Book of Faces.
Yeah,
you
the Book
post
of Faces.
every morning on there talking about your motivation level and just trying to get everybody into this mindset of just try your hardest. Today's a great day. So how do you maintain your motivation when you're in the thick of it?
I think a lot of it equates to my childhood and then different things that I went through, whether it was sports or the military. But I basically just realized that at a young age, everything comes to an end. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a bad spot mentally or physically exhausted, say like you're going through a strenuous workout, that will come to an end eventually, and then you can move on to something else. So don't get caught up in that exact moment of suck per se, and then let it affect your entire day. Like there's 86,400 seconds in a day. So just like relax, take a deep breath, and realize that just because you have 10 seconds of suck doesn't mean that the entire day is shot, right, because you still have all those other seconds. So what I always do is I just reflect on the inside and realize that it'll come to an end. I remove myself from the situation mentally, even while I'm still doing whatever it is, and then come back and I feel a little bit more refreshed. But I don't know, like I'm able to compartmentalize and then separate what's actually happening and where I could be. So an example is in the military, we would get smoked all the time. During sports, when I played football, we would get smoked all the time.
Can you explain what smoked means?
Yeah, so smoked is basically when you're about to reach your limit physically and mentally, and you're like, I physically can't do anything else. Everything burns. You have a ton of lactic acid built up in your muscles. Your brain is telling you to stop, but you know that physically you could keep going. So you're at that pivotal moment where you could either just stop and then kind of relax, or just push through and then really make that progress.
Sure.
So for football, it always happened at conditioning, because we would practice for 2 hours and then you would run sprints at the end of practice. So that was tough because I was playing both sides of the ball, and I had to run routes as a tight end, but then I also had to do laps, wind sprints, and then different shuttle drills as a linebacker. So I was going all over the place, and your legs are shot because you're holding a squat, and then you have to break out of your stance and all this other craziness, and you're smoked. With the military, it could be anything. It could be a 12-mile ruck march. It could be push-ups, sit-ups. If you do something wrong and it's corrective action, and you're in the middle of that, and you're doing flutter kicks, literally anything. So I always laugh. That's my crutch. If it's really bad, I'll just start giggling, and then everyone's like, dude, how are you smiling right now? And I'm like, who cares, man? Like, What are you going to, like, we're out here. You know what I mean? Like, we're in it. Like, What are you going to do, go home? And that actually really helped me during different training events, especially when we're in Australia. You're exhausted from all the elevation changes, jet lag, things like that. And there you are, you got 80 pounds on your back, and you're walking up a mountain. Right. And the guys are absolutely exhausted. They're sweating. Some guys are, basically about to fall out or cramping, things like that. And then they look at me, and I'm just sitting there giggling because we're out here. Right. Like, we can't go home. What are you going to do, swim? Like, the plane shows up in about 3 weeks. Home. Yeah, I'm like, just relax, just smile.
Exhausted that.
Yeah, and then that's outside of physical stuff. That even happens if the conditions are terrible outside. If it's raining, if it's super cold and freezing, you just got to laugh about it, because that's a sense of humor can actually get you a long way. Yeah. And for those who are not in that position, even for business, there's a lot of ups and downs in business and keeping up with life, bills, just trying to maintain happiness, and that triangle that people always talk about where it's like social life, work, and then trying to maintain a certain level of fitness, and you're like, how do you juggle it all? And it's exhausting to keep up with. But the biggest thing is you have to realize that time management is your friend. You just got to capitalize on it. So I also do that. I also back plan my entire day. I try to stay ahead. I get made fun of because I pre-plan my outfits. It actually came up yesterday. I was getting ripped on for that, but it actually helps me maintain what I have to do, because I knew that I had to work all day for this, right? Yep. So if I'm doing whatever I was doing yesterday, I already knew what I was doing today, outfit-wise, what I had to do to load up everything that we needed that we're going to use for today. I had all that squared away, so I wasn't thinking about it, so I could be in the moment, stay present, not be on my phone.
Sure.
So I use that for everything. I just I just plan. You
Yeah.
have to plan. If you don't plan, you're going to set yourself up for failure.
Is that all in your mind, or do you write that down?
It's all in my mind. I used to start with lists, and then I just got into a rhythm where I transitioned out of doing to-do lists, and then I could just memorize it.
Sure.
But that, sometimes I slip up with other stuff where I'd forget something else. So then I, started using more calendars. So now it's a mix. Like for events and stuff, I use calendars just to keep my days straight. But then when I make a to-do list in my head, I'm not like writing out, okay, wake up at this time, and creating a timeline. I just do that mentally and then execute it.
Right.
So that's how I stay positive and in it, because I'm always focused on the next task.
Sure.
I'm not like dwelling on something or whatever. And then a tip for people too, when I was making a to-do list for the day, I would start with the most difficult task. So the day got easier, it didn't get harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with the things that I did not want to do at all.
Yep.
Whether it was a chore, whether it was an appointment that I was dreading, or if it was just something that I wasn't a fan of, that's what I would focus on.